This is video 1.2, Changes in Matter. In this video, you are going to be able to describe a physical property, describe a chemical property, describe a physical change, and describe a chemical change. A physical property of matter must be observed using your senses. A physical property of matter will include things such as density. Density equals mass divided by volume. It will include the size of the object, the shape of the object, the color of the object in terms of pigment or shade, so how dark it is, how light it is. It will include things such as the conductivity, how well electricity flows through the object, malleability, the ability of the object to be flattened or pounded by a mallet, and luster, which is how shiny an object is. Chemical properties are a little bit different than physical properties. Chemical property will always be referred to as a substance's ability to do something. When we have a chemical property, when we're talking about chemical properties, we're talking about the property of the substance in terms of how it can react with other materials, how it can burn or combust, its ability to change or transform into something totally different than what it originally was, and its ability to oxidize. We'll talk more about these when we discuss chemical changes in matter. You should take this opportunity right now to open up your interactive notebook and write down the notes about physical properties and chemical properties of matter. Be sure to pause the video so that you can copy the physical properties and chemical properties of matter into your notebook. You will want to make sure that you write the physical and chemical properties of matter onto the right side of your notebook, as if it is teacher input. Physical changes of matter include things where we're changing the matter, but we are not changing the type of matter we are talking about. So it includes things like changing the texture, the size, the shape, or the color. Be very careful with color because sometimes color can be a chemical change. But when we change the texture, the size, the shape, or the color of a substance, but we do not change the substance itself, then we are talking about a physical change. I have two examples here in pictures for you to see. We have a picture of water. The water is going from solid, which is ice, to liquid, which is water as we know it coming out of the tap. And then we have a little cloud there. Looks like it's raining. The cloud is a form of gaseous water. I'm going to take 2 seconds to just denote something here. When we talk about solids, if we were talking about a substance that is solid, we are always going to want to draw a little S right after the substance that we're talking about. So, if we're talking about water, so I drew the formula for water, H2O. If we're talking about water in the solid phase, we would place a little S, that's a bad S, but we would place a little S after the formula. That denotes that that water is in the solid phase. If we wanted to denote that the water is in the liquid phase, H2O, we would place a little L after the H2O. If we wanted to say that the water was in the gaseous phase, we would put H2O with a G after it. So S stands for solid, L stands for liquid, and G stands for gas. Anytime we have water that is changing from the solid phase to water in the liquid phase, so H2O solid going to H2O liquid, this arrow means yields or becomes. So when the solid becomes the liquid, that is a physical change. You'll also notice this other example up here where you have a pencil that's being broken. Even though the pencil is being broken, it is still a pencil, so it is a physical change. Chemical changes always require that you are producing a totally new substance from one that you originally had. When wood burns, burning is a classic chemical change. When wood burns, you no longer have wood, you will have ash. When water decomposes or breaks down into its elements, hydrogen and oxygen, you have two totally new substances. Water is totally different than hydrogen and oxygen. Water you can't inhale. Hydrogen and oxygen are gases at standard temperature and pressure. So hydrogen and oxygen are gases that you can inhale. Anytime you have a chemical change, you're going to be looking for key words like burning, rotting, rusting. Another word for rusting is oxidizing. You might want to write that down. Anytime you have a protein that is coagulating, like when an egg is being fried and turns from that clear to that white color, fireworks which are burning in the sky, foaming, and another one that's not written here, anytime a gas is being produced. Sometimes they'll say a gas is being produced or bubbles are appearing. When bubbles appear, it is evident that a chemical reaction has taken place and a new substance, the gas, is being produced. In this equation, we have a chemical reaction. Let's discuss why. Right here, we have water. Very hard to draw with this stylus. And on the arrow means yields. What happens to the water is it breaks down into hydrogen gas and oxygen gas. The hydrogen and oxygen gas are entirely different than the H2O that we started with. Therefore, we have a chemical reaction. To summarize, I hope that now you can answer questions on physical properties, chemical properties, physical changes, and chemical changes. I hope this video helped. Until next time.